I never used to believe in urban legends. I always thought they were stories made up to scare children or serve as material for cheap horror movies. But what happened that night changed everything. My name is Daniel, and what I'm about to tell you is real. It all happened in the fall of 2023. My friends Diego, Lucas, Camila, Fernanda, and I decided to spend a weekend exploring the Black Hills Forest near Burkittsville, Maryland. Diego was obsessed with the legend of the Blair Witch and always talked about visiting the place to see if he could find anything strange. I didn't believe in any of it, but I agreed to the adventure. Little did I know that decision would change my life forever. We arrived in Burkittsville late in the afternoon. The town was small and quiet, almost as if it was frozen in time. A few people walked the streets, all of them staring at us with serious expressions. We stopped at a convenience store to buy supplies. The clerk, an elderly man with white hair and deep-set eyes, watched us as we grabbed some snacks and extra flashlights. "Are you heading into the forest?" he asked in a deep voice. Diego grinned. "Yeah, we want to see if we can find anything from the legend." The old man sighed, placing his hands on the counter. "Do whatever you want, but never ignore the signs. If you find her symbols, don't stay. Leave." We followed a trail Diego had marked on the map. He had been researching for months and was determined to find the supposed ruins of the witch's cabin. The sun was low on the horizon, painting the sky orange and purple. We walked for almost an hour. Gradually, I noticed something strange. The forest was absurdly silent. There were no birds singing, no insects buzzing, not even the sound of the wind rustling the leaves. Just the crunching of our footsteps on the dirt and dried leaves. We set up camp in a clearing. While pitching the tents, Diego pulled out a notebook and showed us some drawings of symbols he wanted to find. "They say that when you see this," he pointed at a stick figure drawing, "it means the witch is already watching." Camilla crossed her arms. "You think we're just gonna stumble upon one of those by chance?" Before Diego could answer, Lucas pointed at a tree. "Like that one." A chill ran down my spine. Hanging from one of the lower branches was a stick figure, and as we looked around, we noticed something even more disturbing. There were dozens of them, hanging, scattered on the ground, tied to trunks. Then we heard branches breaking. It was around 3 a.m. when I woke up to a strange sound. I opened my eyes and lay still, trying to understand where they were coming from. It sounded like multiple voices speaking at the same time, right outside my tent. Then I heard it. "Help me." I crawled out of the tent, but Fernanda wasn't there. The others emerged too, frightened. Lucas looked around and whispered, "Where's Fernanda?" Then we heard it again, her voice coming from deep within the forest. "Help me." The sound was strange, distant, yet at the same time, too close. And then Diego whispered, "There." We turned and saw. In the middle of the trees, Fernanda stood motionless, her back to us. Before we could react, Fernanda turned her head in an impossible way and smiled. Hell had begun, the chase. Camila let out a sharp scream, and that was enough to break the trance. Or whatever she had become lurched toward us, her movements unnatural, jagged, as if her limbs didn't quite belong to her. We ran, blindly, desperately, pushing through the trees, not caring about the branches cutting our faces or the roots threatening to trip us. Behind us, we could hear heavy footsteps, more than one set. "Keep running," Diego shouted, panting. The forest twisted around us. The more we ran, the more everything looked the same. We weren't getting anywhere. Then Lucas tripped. He fell hard, his flashlight skidding across the dirt. I turned back to help him, but then I saw it. A pair of hands, bony, clawed, reaching out from the darkness behind him. I grabbed Lucas by the arm and yanked him up, just as the hands clawed at empty air where he had been. We didn't look back. Somehow, we reached a clearing. A single decayed house stood at its center. "The cabin!" Diego gasped. It was the last place we wanted to be, but the forest was closing in behind us. We had no choice. We stepped inside. Startled by what happened and with no way out, we spent the night in the cabin trying to process what we had witnessed, but the anxiety only grew. The next day, we called Fernanda, but to our surprise, she didn't remember anything. She said she had gotten lost in the forest and had no idea what had happened. What we witnessed that night was not something explainable. It was an extremely paranormal experience, something that went beyond what we thought was possible.